sports fans, how are we? We're doing well. Welcome to the 10 yards back pipes, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're watching this. Welcome to my round 10, the magic round predictor. In this video, I'm going to make my usual terrible predictions and give advice that the teams will not listen to for the upcoming Magic weekend. It's Magic, everyone. So I do have to sprinkle a little bit of salt or sugar, whichever you think, on these predictions and say that the occasion gets to people, doesn't it? It can make them under or overperform. So I take no responsibility if someone decides to do a Tommy Makinson versus Hull FC 2017 Magic weekend spectacular try, or a Sam Cassiano last minute kick return for the Catalans Dragons in 2021, I think it was. Those magic moments will happen this weekend. I take no responsibility if one of those breaks a game and turns my predictions over. All right, let's have a look at how Magic's shaping. Kicks off Leigh versus Catalans, good game. Hull KR versus Salford, lunchtime for sure for everyone on that one. Saints versus Leeds to close off Saturday, which should also be a pretty good tie. Huddersfield Hull FC open the gates on Sunday. Wigan versus Warrington afternoon, and Castleford Wakefield. That Sunday is packed, which is unfortunate, I guess, because it's Sunday and less people go. So if we look at where the context of the season as it is, we're 10 rounds in now, we're starting to get comfortable where we are. That first game is 3 versus 7. That Hull KR versus Salford game is basically David and Goliath, isn't it? Saints versus Leeds, 5v6, whoa. Again, Huddersfield versus Hull, 4v12. Wigan Warrington, 2v8, but it is a Wigan Warrington Magic tie. Anything can happen. And Castleford Wakefield, 10 versus 9. I feel like Wakefield deserve a little bit better than 9 at this point, but anyway, that's where we are. All right, first match, let's have a look. Excuse me. First match, Leigh versus Catalans, 3rd versus 7th. Again, in this season, for some reason, that doesn't really mean much because the number of games won is, Leigh have only won one game more than Catalan, but they did have that draw against Hull FC, so they're 3 points clear of them. Points for their scoring about the same, but there's not really a lot in this one, to be honest. I think this one really comes down to the occasion and the teams. So Leigh are basically putting out a full squad. Mbappe's back, they got Lam. Catalans are missing Tommy Makinson. They've got a pretty good replacement in Fuad Yaha, who I'm sure will step up. They've also got Tompkins back. Now, Tompkins cannot be underestimated. I don't like him as a player. As a person, he seems pretty good, pretty cool, to be honest. As a player, I don't like him, but you can't deny the fact that he's pretty special. He can do a lot that others can't, Tompkins, and he'll probably, I think what Leigh have to do is not let him general this game. You can make Tompkins disappear, to be fair. If he's not in the mood, or he's carrying a niggle, or you're not massively up on the scoreboard, he'll either disappear or try to general the game. I think Leigh have to try and make sure that he doesn't do that. And for Catalans to win this one, I think they have to, this will happen anyway. These rucks will be some of the slowest rucks you'll ever see, but get prepared for so many 6 agains. Leigh are probably going to spend most of the time down in the Catalans half because of how many 6 agains ruck infringements they get on the Catalans to try and slow this game down, because if you let this Leigh Leopards side get a roll on, get some steam behind them, Catalans have got no chance. So, that being said, I think this is going to be about 28-22. Both sides can score tries on the day from, I'm going to say a lot of places. Catalans really do rely on their forwards, which is why I think the game's going to be so slow, so that they can, the defensive rucks are going to be so slow, so that they can capitalise on that in the attack. It all comes down to Tompkins and where they're going to play GAB, Guillermo Aspero Bichet. Where are they going to play him, and when are they going to play him? Is Tompkins going to be an impact player coming off the bench? Is GAB going to start at fullback? Are they going to do something crazy like put him on the wing instead of Tommy, which I really don't advise. I don't know. We'll find out. But that's my prediction on that one. 28-22, Leigh pinch it. Game number 2. What do you want? What do you want from this? Hull KR on fire. Salford are just on fire. The club is on fire. So like that's where we are with this one, really. Hull KR aren't missing any key players, but it doesn't really matter if they are, does it? If we're being honest, that doesn't really matter. Salford do have Hankinson and Ethan Ryan back, who are really good players for them, to be honest. Hopefully, Ethan Ryan Briley, confusing, can link up there at the back and do some damage. Hankinson he's an all-rounder. He's played for every club in every position, so hopefully he can do something. I don't think Salford can pull this up, but I do think they can score a couple of tries. I got this 30 points to 10 because they are dogs, aren't they? Salford, like they're getting beat, but they're getting beat by less and less every week, which I know is like what you'd say to like your kids' team, like, hey, they beat you, but you lost by more last week, so you're getting better. I think that's a massive achievement for Salford at the minute. Like I said last week, they've played 45 different players in their first team this season already. You're going up against the number ones in Hull, KR. What do you want? All right, game 3, Leeds versus Saints. I think this is a really good game to close out the day. 2 teams with a decent following, which means the crowd will be pretty full. Teams that people, I think, would want to see, might want to stick around with. If you're a Hull fan, particularly Hull KR fan, you're not got that far to travel from Newcastle, so you might want to stick around for this one. It's also, there's really nothing in this game. Basically, what separates these two is that Salford game at the start of the season. If Saints had won by 10 points, for example, in that game, all bets are off here. These two are exactly the same. They're identical. They're conceding about the same. They're scoring about the same, minus the Salford incident. The conversion ratios are about the same. They're 5 and 6. They've got 5 wins each. This game comes down to a couple of things to me. It's all about pairings. So Saints have got a real battle on their hands with players, like positions. Where are people playing, and do they know how to play there? They've got Jack Welsby versus Tristan Saylor at fullback. Seems like even when Jack is playing standoff, he's having to fill in a bit of fullback because Saylor's got a bit too much flair. I think Welsby's probably a better fullback than Saylor, but Saylor's not very good standoff, so that's awkward for them. They got the situation with the centre position, which I think Dion Cross will probably fill in at this weekend if he's available, because they've got 2 wingers on that wing at the minute. So that's Saints they need to sort that out, and also their captain isn't on the field. They need to do something about that captaincy, because either Lomax is your captain or he's not. Play him or don't, but don't keep this will they, won't they all season. People need to know who they're rooting for and who their boss is, because that'll empower the new captain if there is one. The other partnership thing I've got, Leeds team's unchanged from last week, and they did a real good job last week. Almost did a number on Hull KR if those 2 reds hadn't have happened. I think there's the Knowles versus Bentley battle for the cards. And Connor versus Connor. Which Connor's going to show up. Is he going to be reckless? Is he going to get himself loads of cards? I think that depends on how the game goes. I've got this 20-14. I'm okay if that flips. I'm going to say now this is my flipper. If Leeds win, fine. I think there's nothing in this game, but I think that'll be about the margin. Just one try in it. I hope. Otherwise, Saints are in real trouble, because that's the way it'll shift. I don't think Saints are going to walk all over Leeds. I think Leeds can walk all over Saints if they don't sort out that positional problem. All right, opening the Sunday. When these fixtures were created, made, drafted, whatever, I bet this was a good idea for a decent game. Based on last season, this was 11 versus 10. Wasn't it? Last season, basically all season. Not so much anymore. Hull FC have really turned things around, and Huddersfield have really stayed in that first/neutral gear. You got 4v12. Huddersfield yet to score a win. I mean, this would be the place to score a win if they're going to do it. I mean, that would be fantastic. Hull FC also got that kind of buffer, that little buffer that they've got there, that 1 pointer, 1 league pointer from the draw. But I just don't think this is going to happen for Huddersfield. If it is going to happen, they need no errors, no knock-ons, no penalties, no 6 against. They need to keep Hull FC in their own half, because as soon as they cross that halfway line, Hull FC are so dangerous this season. And they'll pick Huddersfield apart. You know, last week against Castleford, there were holes left, right and centre in that Huddersfield defence that Castleford just walked through on a couple of occasions. So Huddersfield needs to be careful of that. I think at this point in this match, you're just going for damage limitation. So I've got this at 24-6 in Hull FC's favour. Happy to be wrong. Happy to see my former hometown alma mater, Huddersfield, do something. I just don't know if they will. All right, Wigan versus Warrington. Warrington haven't released their team yet, and I think that's because they're in the walls a little bit, Warrington, at the minute. They got Williams is out for a long time. Sneed, I think, will be out for a while. He fractured his eye socket last week. Ashton came off HIA, not sure if he passed. Fitzgibbon's talking about his groins acting up, and like it's that is really key pieces out. I mean, both your halfbacks, basically, both your first choice halfbacks out. What do you do? I don't really know what they do there. Matty Ashton is the trump card. You know, Matty Ashton can pull a try out of anywhere. If he's gone and the halves are gone, you've lost that organisational play, and you've lost the wild card play. Wigan. I don't need to talk about Wigan. Their team's out. Adam Kieran's back. He's kicking again. Harry Smith, Bevan French, they're still in the halves. Jayfield at full back. And December's killing everyone in second row. And they've got, seems like 1,000 props. Wigan are going to be fine. It's Warrington. I think if Warrington are going to do anything here, again, we need those partnerships really, really working. We can't have any individual shows here, and we also probably need to rein the team in a little bit. Focus on your own little area. Focus on your job. So we've got, I think that's Dufty and Powell linking up. No, sorry, not Powell. Dufty and Walker linking up. I think Walker's gonna have a real difficult day on Sunday. But if he can link up with Dufty needs to take some of that work off him. Dufty needs to kind of be not a full back. He needs to be involved really here. Curry and King, or Curry and Ty, and also Yates needs to really step up and do a bit of ball playing here as well. So because they have got ball players, Walker, Powell, Yates, Curry. Where are they going to be though? You know, where on the field will they be during this game? I don't know. My prediction's here 32-6. I don't think it's going to be a nice day for Warrington. I think they're probably going to get it given to them. Dufty will probably score that one try as a solo effort for Warrington, I would imagine. All right, closing the weekend out. This is quite a good way to close the weekend out, to be honest. I think this game was probably planned based on location. These two teams, there's a bit of a rivalry, if you were to believe rivals round. The teams aren't that far away. They're not in Lancashire, they're not over that side of the Pennines, so they're, an hour and a half away each from Newcastle. So it's probably based on location, ease for the fans. But it's actually a really good way to close out the weekend. As I say, it's 9 versus 10. Wakefield have got 2 more games on them, so that's a bigger margin than elsewhere in the table. Just bear that in mind. We had Saints versus Leeds earlier, both got 10 points apiece. This is 4 points, that's 2 games difference. So even though they're next to each other in the table, Wakefield are outperforming Cass. One of those games was against Cass as well, just a couple of weeks ago. So you have to bear that in mind when you consider these league positions. Cass have just signed Chris Atkin from Salford. I don't know if he's going to be available for this fixture. If he is, that's going to be interesting. I don't know what that does to this Castleford side. They have in the past been a side that is comfortable with being led by a hooker. I always look at are you forward led or are you half led? Led by the hooker or led by the halves. They have been comfortable with that with McShane and Darryl Powell in the past. So they can do it as long as defensively they are set, because Wakey have got pretty good attack at the minute, particularly down those wings. Tom Johnson isn't really a winger as we would think right now. He doesn't really dart down the side. He's more of a take on all comers right down the middle winger. Nevertheless, those Castleford wings need to strengthen up and bulk up. I think they can win this. Wakey need a different kicking option, whether that's giving it to Jowett and just having Jowett do a couple of territorial kicks, a couple of positional kicks. I don't know, but last week against Catalans, Lino had 2 territory kicks when you charged down in quite spectacular fashion, quite effective. They can't be doing that this week. They need a different kicking option, whether that's a traditional formal role or whether it's just somebody saying, listen, we keep doing this again and again, I'm just going to do something different here. So Wakey do need to mix this up, because Cass have just played them 2 weeks ago. They'll want blood, they'll be up for it. That being said, I've got 24-12 Wakey to Cass. I just fancy Wakey this season. They're doing really well, and obviously if Wakey get that 2 points, they could potentially leapfrog Leeds if Leeds lose against Saints. Leapfrog Warrington again if Warrington lose to Wigan. They're back in contention if Wakey get those 2 points. If Cass get the 2 points, it's still a bit of a road back for them. They probably stay in 10th. But God, I think that's going to be a really good game. There's definitely one to watch this weekend. So the predictions are in. You heard it here. Maybe first. I don't know. You probably watch other predictor shows as well. I've got Leigh, Hull KR, Saints, Hull FC, Wigan and Wakey, the victors this weekend. What will that do to the table? I don't know, because it's so close. It all comes down to, I think, that points difference. How much do these teams win by? And what will happen? Who knows? Anyway, guys, enjoy Magic Weekend. Join me again for my Monday, Tuesday humble pie, where I'll go through the results and we'll see just how much shite I was talking with those predictions. Enjoy Magic, guys.